What's up, everybody? Chris Flick here, Chris Flick Podcast, episode number 145. Today, we're going to be doing a reading from the great book, Benjamin Franklin, written by Walter Isaacson. Now, I would highly recommend this book to anybody if you're into history, if you're into this country, if you're into the founding of this country, and if you're interested in learning about one of the industrious men, the man that stole lightning from the sky, and they created freedom and liberty here in America, right? Ben Franklin's your guy. Now, today we're going to be talking about 4 rules that he identified in his life that I think that apply perfectly well to today, and that any one of us, whether it's you, me, your neighbor, your mother, your brother, whoever, can take these lessons and they could automatically just immediately put them into their lives, and things are going to be working, things are going to be looking up for them. All right, rule number 1. It is necessary for me to be extremely frugal for some time, till I have paid what I owe. So if any of you guys are out there sitting in debt right now, it's time to take a look at your expenses, right? It's time to take a peek at where you're spending all your money here. And if you could start shaving some of that, if you could start clipping some of that, if it's takeout all the time, if you're getting Grubhub all the time and you're paying $7.50 for some dude to deliver food to your house, maybe that's an expense you could cut if you're sitting with credit card debt. So we got to look at the expenses, find out where you're spending money, and start snipping away at that, all right? And hopefully you take that money that you were spending and throw it at your debt. Next thing you know, the frugality of life, you don't have to be as frugal anymore because you pulled yourself out of debt, all right? So first step, get at it, be frugal, get out of debt, and then from there you might be able to enjoy some of the finer things of life, we'll say. Number 2, to endeavor to speak truth in every instance. To give nobody expectations that are not likely to be answered, but aim at sincerity in every word and action. The most amiable excellence in a rational being. So first part of that, to endeavor to speak truth in every instance. You watch Scarface, he said, I got 2 things, my BALLS and my word. And he wasn't going to break them for nobody, right? That word that he had was the most important thing to him. Benjamin Franklin knew this. Some of the great old-time thinkers knew this, right? The truth is all we have. It doesn't cost anything to tell the truth. You just have to do it. You have to be open. You have to live with it, right? And if you have to tell the truth and it's something you're not happy about, then maybe you need to adjust that one area, that one thing that does bring some not so pleasant feelings into your life. To give nobody expectations that are not likely to be answered. So don't create some sort of false sense of like who you are, some false sense of bravado, some false sense of delivery that you might not be able to deliver. Be honest, be truthful, and be real. Ben Franklin knew how important that was back in the day, and I think we need to be ever more aware of this concept now with things like social media out there. Don't deliver some expectation, or don't create some expectation that you can't deliver. Sincerity in every word and action. Mean what you do, okay? Mean what you say and mean what you do. You don't do stuff for the sake of doing it to create some sort of expectation. You do it because that's how you feel on the inside, right? That's sincerity. It's got to be real. It's got to be legit. Number 3, to apply myself industriously to whatever business I take in hand, and not divert my mind from my business by any foolish project of suddenly growing rich. For industry and patience are the surest means of plenty. Now, the psychologist Jordan Peterson talks about literally just going 100% in your work. Just try that for a month or 2. 100% of your effort's going to go into creating something better for yourself, right? To apply myself industriously to whatever business I take in. Try that for a month and see the results that you get. Second part. Not divert my mind from my business by any foolish project of suddenly growing rich. I want to talk about the foolish project part. Anything that doesn't support what you want out of your life, eliminate it. Get rid of that stuff. Things like this right here, the social media thing, right? You could be scrolling all day on TikTok, Instagram, whatever. That's a foolish project in my mind, because you could be spending that time reading, working, trying to better yourself. Don't do that. And if you put the idea of suddenly growing rich ahead of things like industry and patience, hard work, stuff like that, you're going to always come up empty. You might get lucky here or there, but that's pure speculation. That's like going to California in the 1840s, right? Trying to hit that gold rush. What are the chances it's actually going to happen to you? I don't like to speculate. Industry and patience are the surest means of plenty. Remember that. Number 4, I resolve to speak ill of no man whatever. This is a tough one. I'm trying to follow these rules for myself. And when I get to that, I like to talk a little trash myself, usually in the name of humor. But I'm realizing I don't think anything good comes from that. That stuff, that kind of speaking ill of others, trying to put people down, is almost, in a way, trying to put yourself up on a pedestal. And what does that serve? It serves that ego. We talked about this a few weeks ago, right? If you're doing things that are going to try to serve your ego, then you need to reevaluate that and maybe avoid that at all costs. Because at the end of the day, if you're doing things that are just going to serve yourself and not serve others and not to create some sort of better situation out there, it's going to come back and bite you in the rear end, all right? Benjamin Franklin, Walter Isaacson, 500 plus pages, great book, interesting man. He also has an autobiography out that I would also recommend. But there's going to be more from this coming soon because I've been reading these freaking books for years, maybe even decades. I've got notes, copious amounts of notes. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing with these notebooks filled with book notes if I never look at them again? So I'm going back through them, man. I just finished this notebook this past year. I'm starting at whatever the first book was in there. Happened to be this one. And I'm going through the notes. There's going to be more podcast episode. Founding principles, man. That's what we're going to be talking about. Benjamin Franklin, George Washington, Alexander Hamilton, all that stuff. That's what's coming at you in the near future. How are we going to apply these old school lessons to today? Peace, everybody. One more thing. Google, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere, right? ChrisFlick.net's the website. You go to there, put in your email. There's one spot that says we have a heck of a newsletter. Every Sunday at 7:30 a.m. I send out a newsletter of things that have been going on in my mind, right? Put your email in if you want to get on that list. I usually share my podcast episodes. I share what I'm reading, what I'm listening to, fitness tip of the week, what I've been thinking about. It ranges. It's a variety of things, right? It's a potpourri of ideas, we could say. All right. So ChrisFlick.net's the website. That's where I have all my gym information. That's where I have my podcast information, and it is where I have my newsletter. All right, sign up for it. I'll be pumping stuff in your inbox every Sunday, 7:30 a.m. sharp. And what else do we got coming up? Just a lot of cool stuff, a lot of good programs going on at the farm. This podcast here, my goal for the future is going to be to use this podcast to support everything that we're doing here as we try to reclaim this old barn that you see in the background here, put in an awesome training facility here so we could serve the local community, we could serve the kids, and we could try to create a better future. Peace, everybody.